There's a lot of confusion out there about carbonated water, so if you're working as a health, fitness, or a wellness professional, you're likely going to have clients come to you saying, should I drink this carbonated water? Should I run from the hills? What's the deal? So in this video, I'm going to get rid of some myths about carbonated water. I'm also going to share some benefits that some people can experience with carbonated water, but I'm also going to show you some issues where some clients really do need to avoid carbonated water. Here we go.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So there's a lot of varieties of carbonated water that contain things like sugar and artificial sweeteners and all these flavors and junk. And just know that in this video, I'm not talking about those. A lot of those are not fit for human consumption at all. And today we're just going to be talking about water that is carbonated. So let's first get rid of some of these myths. And the first myth I want to get rid of is there's a lot of people that feel like carbonated water can magnify IBS symptoms. And it seems like they kind of feel like this because it can increase the gas in the system. And carbonation does have that gas, it goes into the stomach, but usually it's just increasing the gas level in the stomach. Most people will burp that out, it's usually not going to go down into the system so much. So if somebody's having gas issues, it's usually due to other issues. And we're going to put a link in the description below this video on a video explaining why some clients are going to be dealing with gas more than others. Now we'll talk about another issue towards the end of the video that may be contributing to IBS issues for some people, but it's not really the carbonated water's fault. Another thing that a lot of people feel like that carbonated water can magnify is acid reflux. And it's interesting when they talk about it, they say that CO2 is acidic, and so they're adding more acid into their stomach, and then they're getting that reflux by increasing the acid level. And the reality is that acid reflux is not caused by too much stomach acid like people think. It's caused when someone's not making enough stomach acid. So if that's new information for you, we'll put a link in the description below explaining acid reflux and how that really happens as well. But there is an issue with carbonated water because if someone's having acid reflux because they have a bacterial overgrowth, and that bacterial overgrowth in the stomach is creating a lot of gas and a lot of pressure that's pushing things back up, then CO2 in the bubbly water really could magnify that problem because it's adding to the gas load that the bacterial overgrowth is already creating. And that could push the small amount of acid that's being created in the stomach back up, and the person will experience more acid reflux. But again, that's not being caused by the carbonated water. The carbonated water is just magnifying a problem that's already there. Another myth is that the acidic factor of that CO2 in the carbonated water is going to melt your teeth and weaken your bones and give you stomach ulcers. And this is just not really true. It is true that the carbonated water is slightly acidic, but it's not like melt your teeth and bones acidic. And by the time you put it in water, it's really not that acidic at all. And we know now that ulcers are actually caused by a bacterial overgrowth in the stomach. They're not caused by too much stomach acid like we believed in 1980s and such. So these are really not true things to be considering. Now, the acidity of that CO2 does have the ability to get into the bloodstream and push that bloodstream to be slightly more acidic. But this is not always some huge problem like the pH idiot gurus talk about all the time. So here's kind of how it works. The bloodstream has a narrow pH range that it kind of has to stay within, and it does have the ability to lean a little too far on the acidic side and cause some problems, but it also has the ability to lean too far on the alkaline side and cause little problems. So just because the blood has the ability to lean too far on the acidic side, that doesn't mean that every human being is leaning too far on the acidic side like these pH guru idiots tell us. So here's how it works. When the blood starts leaning too far on that alkaline side, what's called the Bohr effect kicks in. And we all learned about the Bohr effect in 8th grade, but then we just kind of never talked about it again. And what the Bohr effect tells us is when the blood leans too far on that alkaline side, that oxygen can't get down to the tissues where it needs to be. We kind of need that oxygen to be there so we can do things like create energy and do all these things that the body uses oxygen for. We kind of know that oxygen is important, but when the blood is leaning too far on the alkaline side, the doctor will put a pulse oximeter on your client and be like, oh man, oxygen is great, he looks great, way to go. But it can be the reality that if the blood is leaning too alkaline, that oxygen will look great, but it can't get down to the tissues where it needs to be for the body to function the way that it wants to function. So we see just as many problems from the blood leaning too far on the alkaline side as if the blood is leaning too far on the acidic side. Now, the great news for someone whose blood is leaning too far on that alkaline side is that the CO2 in the carbonated water can help acidify that blood, balance out the pH, and then allow oxygen to get down to the tissues where it needs to be. So if someone is leaning too far on this alkaline side, carbonated water can really be their best friend. It's just important to understand that the urine and the saliva pHs have no indication to what the blood pH is. A lot of pH gurus like to tell us this, and it's actually false. There is no correlation to that whatsoever. A person can have a very high and alkaline urine or saliva pH and still have their blood leaning more on that acidic side. So if you want to figure out where your client's blood pH is leaning towards, you want to look at their breath rate. So if you can just have a client just relax and breathe normal, and you count the number of inhales in a minute, just set like a minute timer, and maybe you tell them, hey, I'm just going to check your pulse, and just relax and close your eyes and just breathe normal, and I'm just going to check your pulse. And I tell them this because I don't want to say, hey, I'm going to check your breath rate, because then they're like, oh, am I breathing too fast? Should I breathe faster? Should I slow down? They're going to become conscious of what they're doing. So I just lie and say, hey, I'm going to look at your pulse. I'm going to do this pulse test. So just relax, and then I'll count the number of times they inhale in that 60-second time period. And you can even have them run this test on their own at home. They can just count their breath rate, and you tell them what they're really checking at that point. But you just want to have them count the inhales. Now, if the number of inhales in that 60-second time period is between 14 and 18, that's a pretty optimal range. But if they have 12 inhales or less in that 60-second time, that's an indication that the blood may be leaning too far on that alkaline side. If they have more than 20 breaths per minute, that's an indication that they may be leaning too far on that acid side in the bloodstream. So with a low breath rate situation, drinking some carbonated water can really help that client improve the situation and balance out that bloodstream. But if somebody has more than 20 breaths per minute, you really want to have them avoid carbonated water, because that's going to magnify that imbalance and create even more problems. When someone's breath rate is really high like that, they tend to seem to burn through fuel too quickly, and they won't have fuel available to the body or the brain, so they might be wiped out, or they could really have mental or emotional issues. When I've seen clients that have a really fast breath rate, I've been like, hey, you're a little bit insane, aren't you? Do you have people tell you that you're a little bit crazy? And they'll be like, yeah, they tell me that all the time. And sometimes it can affect the way that their brain functions, because they're ripping through fuel too quickly, and the brain doesn't have fuel left to function correctly. You may also hear from people that say, oh, my digestion seems like it works better when I drink carbonated water. And there are some folks out there that seem to think that drinking carbonated water with a meal can restrict the ability for the person to assimilate the nutrients in that meal. So that's possibly a problem. If you believe that could be a problem, just have the clients drink the carbonated water away from food. But you do hear from people that say, oh, my digestion feels better when I drink carbonated water. And an interesting fact is that some of these waters contain minerals, and this chloride ion can be in that mineral water, and the body needs the chloride ion to make hydrochloric acid or stomach acid. So it's like an extra resource that allows the body to make more stomach acid. So this could help people improve their digestion and maybe feel like they digest a little bit better. But if a person's dealing with IBS and maybe chronic loose stool issues like we talked about before, then increasing the ability to make more stomach acid could magnify those loose stool issues. So that could be another factor that can be involved with some people feeling like carbonated water could magnify some IBS issues. But if you just help the client correct the actual cause of those IBS issues, then all of a sudden the carbonated water is not going to magnify their problem they're dealing with. If you don't understand how to help clients correct loose stool issues, we'll put a link in the description below this video. If you want to learn more about looking at your client's unique bio-individuality, then my book Health Pro Results will walk you through how to teach clients how to do simple self-tests at home that they can run with tools they pick up at a pharmacy or a health food store. And the book is available on Amazon, but I'm going to put a link in the description below this video so you can get the whole thing totally for free. And it'll walk you through understanding how to look at those factors. For now, check out a video over on our channel for consumers about the truth about pH balance to learn more about understanding when that blood is leaning too alkaline or too acidic, and understanding the issues that those can create. I can't wait to hear about your results.